months. And so that resource that we count on beautifully in the summer is not really there for us in the winter. And so we've got to do some more improvements in the winter grid.
Winter is coming. Joining us now to discuss our controversial Texas grid, we are honored to welcome the relatively new Chief Executive Officer of ERCOT, Pablo Vegas. Pablo, thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to give you an opportunity right now to respond to my earlier assessment of the Texas power grid as fragile and unpredictable. My guess is you don't agree?
Well, good morning, Brett. It's great to be with you this morning. I would not characterize it as fragile, although unpredictable. You know, the weather is unpredictable sometimes, and so we do need to be ready for whatever Mother Nature brings us. But fragile, I wouldn't agree with. I think we actually are more resilient and more reliable today than we've ever been in the history of the Texas electric grid. And that's for several reasons. You know, we've continued to invest in reliability. We've continued to invest in tools to help us operate this rapidly changing grid in a way that we can do so and keep the lights on for everybody, regardless of the season, whether it's the hot summer or whether it's the cold winter. Those investments are paying off. We're operating the grid more conservatively than we have in the past, making sure that there's never any surprises. And so we're going to need to continue to focus on this because, as you noted, the resource mix is changing. We are seeing a lot more renewables come onto the grid. And I would say the name of the game needs to be balanced, Brett. We need to be building and growing our electric infrastructure in a balanced way, taking advantage of the benefits that renewables are bringing, and at the same time, recognizing the value and the benefits that we get out of conventional generation like natural gas and nuclear.
Hey, Pablo, you mentioned renewables. Talk to me about, let's just say, how heroic the renewables have been. They meet your expectations?
Yeah, so renewables have been a key part of the story this summer. If you look at the difference between this summer and last summer, we have over 4,000 megawatts of new renewables online this summer. Most of those are solar panels. We had over 3,000 new megawatts developed this last year, over 1,000 megawatts of new solar. So that certainly is helping out during the hot summer days. And so we look at that, but it's also changing the risk profile of the grid, Brad. So where historically the hottest and riskiest part of the day were lined up to be the same hours, generally 3, 4, 5 o'clock during the day when we saw that high risk period. That's actually shifting because of the fact that we're getting so much more solar panels onto the grid. We're seeing that time window shift to later in the day, till around 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And that's actually the higher risk period. And so we're really focused on making sure we've got the right tools to help us as we transition from the hot days into the warm nights and making sure there's enough power during those ramps.
Pablo, how are we setting up for this winter?
We're making a lot of progress, Brett, in terms of continually focused on how we're going to be operating the grid reliably in the winter. So one key change coming our way. So you've heard about the weatherization efforts that occurred following Winter Storm Uri. Well, this winter, we've taken another step forward in weatherization, making the requirements even more stringent for power plants and for transmission facilities. Those new requirements will be in effect this winter, and ERCOT will be out working with all of the power generators and transmission companies, inspecting what they've done, making sure they're achieving those more stringent requirements.
And quickly, about a minute left, what about building new power plants for what we call dispatchable generation? How urgent is that need?
We have to continue to focus on this growth in a balanced way, and it is urgent, Brett. As has been noted, the economy is growing, Texas is growing gangbusters, and with that comes growth in electric demand. And so we want to make sure we can meet that growth no matter what the weather is doing, if the wind is blowing or not, if it's cold in the winter or if it's hot in the summer. And so the way to do that is to grow in a balanced way. Grow the renewables and get the benefits that they offer, grow the dispatchable generation and get the reliability that they offer. Together, they work together to deliver what Texans need.
Fantastic. Pablo Vegas, CEO of ERCOT, welcome aboard, and you're doing a great job, we think. It is a pleasure to talk to you, and we'll be keeping a close eye on the grid the rest of the summer, and thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you, Brett.
Time for our forecast. Take a quick look.